Alright, so unfortunately, I just got done recording the video that you're about to see, and I checked my phone and saw that Dame denied the trade request rumors, so that's definitely unfortunate, but I'm not gonna waste this video. I'm still gonna put it out there. Just keep that asterisk in your mind as you're watching this that the rumor again might not be true. I did state this in the video, but just want to pre-warn you guys before anyone went to the comments and anything like that, so I hope you guys still enjoy it. Hey. Alright, so I pretty much just ran through this entire video, thought I was recording it, but apparently forgot to hit the record button, so we're gonna do a quick little part 2, or attempt number 2, at trying to get this video done. Anyway, NBA fans got a report earlier today that had them buzzing, as apparently Damian Lillard is supposed to be requesting a trade from the Portland Trail Blazers at some point in the near future. And all I have to say to this right away is just thank goodness. With everything that's been happening with the Blazers this offseason so far, between hiring Chauncey Billups, the front office and GM just putting a unserious investigation into his allegations and everything that's happened in his past, it's just all been really frustrating to watch. So pretty much with the Blazers just making stupid move after stupid move, I'm very happy to see that Dame is trying his best to leave this sorry franchise. And I understand if you're a Blazers fan, you're probably going to be upset that your franchise player wants out. I would be too. But at the end of the day, Dame has given you 9 years of really good and enjoyable basketball to watch. At this point, I think it's safe to say that him and the Portland Trail Blazers are just never going to work out in terms of getting anywhere in the NBA playoffs. Dame's gone through 2 rebuilds now, has been All-Star 6 times, has had 6 All-NBA worthy seasons, and one thing that I feel like never gets enough credit for him was the 2019 playoff run he had, where he brought the Trailblazers all the way to the Western Conference Finals, where he unfortunately met the fate that so many other players have had over their careers, where he just ran into one of the best NBA teams of all time in the KD-led Golden State Warriors, again 2019. This was prior to all of their injuries that happened in the finals as well, which also is just really unfortunate because, you know, maybe luck swings a little bit differently. Portland maybe gets to the finals, they face that Raptors team, and who knows, maybe Portland walks away with the championship. Either way, back to current day, and I'm just very excited to see that Dame is finally trying to move on from this unserious franchise. Plus, there was a second half to the report as well that apparently listed the New York Knicks as Dame's favorable destination if he were to be traded. We also then got a later report that added the Philadelphia 76ers to the list of destinations as well. Now, we do have to be cautious. Obviously, nothing is finalized yet. It wasn't a Woj report or a Shams report, which even those reports you have to be careful with sometimes. But again, none of this is finalized, although I will say I personally am starting to believe it a little bit more, due to the fact that Dame also just had an interview with Crispy Haynes, who I personally trust as a solid NBA reporter. But in this interview, they talked about the current state of Team USA, they also talked about Lillard's future with the Portland Trail Blazers, and while he didn't come out and directly say that he is requesting a trade or anything like that, he did have a few phrases and a few sentences he said where to me at least, it kind of alluded to the fact that his time in Portland might be coming to an end. I think Dame is ultimately on his way out. So with all of that said, I did want to investigate a little bit into what it would be like for Dame's future and the future of either the Knicks or Sixers if they are actually able to land Damian Lillard in a trade this offseason. Because on the Knicks side of things, I find them to be very interesting in this situation. Because if you remember, via the Kristaps Porzingis trade, the Dallas Mavericks sent over 2 first-round picks, so the Knicks actually have an overabundance right now. The part that worries me is the actual talent portion of the trade though, because the Knicks just don't have a whole lot of assets in terms of young players. They only have 8 players on contract in total for this next season currently, plus anyone they sign this offseason is not available for trade for at least a few months into the actual NBA season. And when looking at their young talent, I just don't see any possible combination of Mitchell Robinson, Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, or Kevin Knox where any sorts of those combinations is going to be enough to get Dame Lillard no matter how many picks they throw in with them. So it seems likely that RJ Barrett will have to be a part of the deal, which I imagine will be a very polarizing discussion for both Knicks fans and just the Knicks front office in general. I also bring this up because we can look back at other recent NBA superstar trades that have happened, and compare them. For James Harden, the Rockets got 8 first-round picks, Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, and Roddy Karooks. For Paul George, the Thunder got 7 first-round picks and Danilo Gallinari along with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And even the Warriors, who have been linked to Dame as a possible trade idea, absolutely nothing solid to this, but even their initial offer was centered around James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, and a whole bunch of picks, including the 7th and 14th in this upcoming year's draft. So even if the Knicks were to include RJ Barrett, I'm not even sure if that offer really stacks up to any of these other deals that we've seen for past superstars that requested trades. But even if they are able to get the deal done, that leaves them with a duo of Damian Lillard and Julius Randle, with a whole lot of unproven young talent around them. Because of that, I don't see the Knicks as finals contenders right away. They're probably not even better off than this current Portland team if they do get this trade done. The New York front office will have their work cut out for them, as they will have to build a solid roster around Lillard and Randle, which will probably include having to get another all-star level scorer, because we all know Julius Randle is a very inconsistent scorer and not going to add much, especially come playoff time. So to me, the whole idea of trading away your future for one superstar player when you don't really have much else to support whoever is left is just not a good idea to me. And while the path to becoming a finals contending team a few years away is definitely an available one, I'm just not sure if I would take that risk if I were the Knicks, especially after the amazing season you just had. And to quickly talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, this is a location that I would actually be very, very interested in seeing for Damian Lillard. We all just saw the Sixers end as the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, then get kind of low-key embarrassed by the Atlanta Hawks in the second round. Definitely an earlier exit than most Sixers fans expected. But I think the importance of having a true point guard on that Sixers team is more evident now than ever, and added in the fact that Ben Simmons is slowly being alienated by his co-star in Joel Embiid and his head coach. I think the idea of a Ben Simmons for Damian Lillard swap is probably at or near its peak right now. And even if the Sixers aren't able to re-sign Danny Green this offseason, I still think they could potentially end up with a starting lineup of Damian Lillard, Seth Curry, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid if they are able to get this trade done with their other young assets and picks. And overall, that's a very, very scary lineup. Not only do you finally give Joel Embiid the spacing he needs to be effective as possible in the post, but you actually have someone who can break down defenses and force rotations in Damian Lillard. And if Matisse Thybulle is able to just improve his three-point shooting just a little bit, all 5 guys in that starting lineup are capable shooters, and not to mention, again, by adding Thybulle to the lineup, I think there's plenty of defense in there that even if Dame, with him not being a great defender, I don't think it'll be a huge issue. Obviously, the Sixers will still have some work to do in terms of their bench and just, getting guys together, chemistry, all that little nonsensical stuff. But at the end of the day, this is a true finals contending team. So much better than this current lookup with Ben Simmons and just the current state of the Sixers. But this is definitely a trade idea that, if done, would put the entire league on notice. So at the end of the day, it's still unofficial whether Dame is actually going to be requesting a trade or not. I know I just saw on Twitter that apparently he's going to be meeting with the GM Neil Olshey and I think head coach Chauncey Billups to discuss the future. And it might be likely that he's going to be requesting a trade at this meeting. All I know for sure is that I am ready for Damian Lillard to leave this franchise. They've very, very quickly avalanched into one of my least favorite franchises in the league just because of the decisions they've been constantly making this offseason. But in terms of teams that might have the assets and are willing to trade for Damian Lillard, I don't really like the Knicks that much. I like the Sixers. I like the fit in the Sixers. I don't really like it a whole lot as a Celtics fan, but I think that would make them a really good team. There are probably a few others out there. I know for some reason the Lakers continue to get buzz for just every player that wants out of their current team. I think Miami would also be a pretty good destination for him. I don't really want the Celtics to trade for him just because I'm personally happy with the Jays as my core pieces. There's probably a few other teams out west who might be looking to make the deal as well, but I just don't really know if those are that likely. But at the end of the day, I just want to see Dame in a situation where he's happy, he's playing his best basketball, because Dame continues to be one of the most exciting players to be in the NBA and to watch play. And I really hope NBA fans respect that and learn soon enough that the league will be in a much worse place once Dame is gone and not as good as he currently is. So if for some reason Damian Lillard is watching this video, we're rooting for you, we're with you, we're backing you. I hope you make the right choice this summer.